Good morning. It is Monday, February the 27th, 2023. I'm Pearson Bowen. This is a CBC Morning Report. The new strain of bird flu H5N1 has caused some deaths in Cambodia, and there have been other cases of human infection noted in other parts of the world. While the World Health Organization is cautioning not to be alarmed, regional scientists will be holding a special seminar to look at the spread. Well, joining us now is Dr. Kirk Douglas, the Director of the Center for Biosecurity here at the University of the West Indies. Dr. Douglas, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Pearson, and good morning, Barbadians.
We hear not to be alarmed, yet we hear there's going to be this special seminar to look at this. Why is this special seminar? What are you hoping to achieve by it?
Well, I think the webinar is important to disseminate the correct information because fear can breed where there is a misunderstanding or a lack of knowledge. And so we have 4 of the best bird flu experts that are known regionally and also globally. So we have Dr. David Swain. He is recently retired from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. He was the former laboratory director at the Southeast Poultry Research Laboratory. So he will be discussing particularly the risk to farmers for poultry in terms of the clinical pathology, also the emerging issue of whether or not we're supposed to vaccinate these chickens, because the current paradigm is that you don't vaccinate chickens, or if you do vaccinate them, that restricts you in terms of your export trade. If you vaccinate a flock of chickens, you're unable, for bird flu, you're unable to export them to other external markets. So there's a global discussion currently going on as to whether or not that is the correct way to attack this bird flu epidemic, which has been raging for almost 18 months. So it hasn't been going away. And so the current thinking is that if they don't do something now, then this is going to be an untenable situation. We also have Professor David Stolnick. He will be looking at wild birds and the environment, looking at the migratory pathways in the Americas in particular, so coming from North America, going down to South America, and also transiting through the Caribbean. So this bird flu epidemic is actually unprecedented because of all of the spread that has occurred in South America. So there are several South American countries that now have active bird flu or avian influenza outbreaks. So it is trying to understand that, in particular Venezuela, which is very, very close to Trinidad and Tobago. So the risk for Trinidad and Tobago having the bird flu enter their island is very high because of their wildlife trade. And also you have a migrant situation there where you have persons who migrate, sometimes legally, sometimes illegally, from Venezuela coming over to Trinidad and Tobago. And we also have Dr. Tej Huiken, and he's from the Erasmus MC University in the Netherlands. And so he's going to be analyzing this transition of bird flu from birds into mammals, because we would have seen reports from North America where you'd see grizzly bears being infected, even seals and sea lions as well. And so that he will be able to give you some type of comparative pathology between birds and also mammals. And then this emerging interest globally, especially from the WHO, in terms of could this be the next pandemic? And so Dr. Richard Webby, and he is the director with the World Health Organization Collaboration Center for Studies on the Ecology of Influenza in Birds and also animals. So he's going to give us a perspective on the genomics. I mean, from COVID, we would have heard of Omicron and Delta and all of the different genomic analysis. So he's going to speak to us about the genomic analysis of the bird flu viruses so far and also from in the past, and then kind of evaluate and speak more to the pandemic risk that is currently present in bird flu across the globe. So we have a well-rounded panel, and after they've done their presentations, we have some questions and answers. So if you can register and log on, then feel free to interact and ask what burning questions you may have. So we're just providing a platform where persons can actually, ask their question and have their answers delivered to them.
What say you to allay fears of Barbadians this morning?
I say, well, to be vigilant. And that's what we are constantly trying to expose. Not fear, not panic. We want to give people the right information, especially farmers, because they stand a lot to lose. Because as I mentioned before previously, you don't want to invest so heavily in your flock and then have this enter and then decimate your flock. And then it also provides a hindrance for Barbados in terms of any export potential for poultry products. So this is a big issue, not only for Barbados, but for the entire Caribbean, because you know that the Center for Biosecurity Studies and also the UWI, we have a remit not only for local and national, but also for regional influence. So this is important, and I think a number of professionals across the Caribbean can definitely benefit from this webinar.
When is the webinar so that folks can log in and register?
Oh, well, the webinar is tomorrow at 1 p.m. And this is EST, Atlantic Standard Time, so Barbadian time. And for those in North America, this will be like 1 hour behind. So that will be at midday, noon. But you can register. We can send the link, and you can, if you email biosecurity at kfil.uwi.edu, we can send you that link if you don't have it, so you can register and so that you can log on and participate.
All right, we've got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Kurt Douglas, the Director of the Center for Biosecurity at the UWI. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, Pearson, and have a great day.
Likewise. Morning Barbados continues. Morning Report continues in just a moment. But when we come back, we'll hear what the Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies has to say about St. Lucia's education model.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affairs segment. Share your amazing
Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Sir Hilary Beckles, thinks the time has come for the transformation of St. Lucia's education model if the island's economy is to get where it needs to be. The distinguished academic made the comment as he delivered a recent lecture, as we hear from DBS TV.
In the Western Hemisphere, the Caribbean has the lowest enrollment of students in higher education, while Bahamas and Barbados fared better, with 50% of their young people having attained the first degree. A stark contrast exists in the Windward Islands, which ranks as having the lowest figures of university grads in the entire region. This presents a problem for this grouping of islands, says Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Sir Hilary Beckles. St. Lucia, like her other counterparts of the sub-region, says Sir Hilary, should be concerned because, as he points out, every theory or model for economic development that exists makes it abundantly clear that human resource development is the key to transformation.
The OECS nations, I believe, need to find a strategy to have a massive investment in the human resource. It is so vital and critical that this is done.
He used the example of Barbados, which was at the bottom of the economic ladder decades ago, but which citizens now have a high standard of living. This he attributes to the foresight of Barbadian leaders like the late Sir Owen Arthur, who understood that the country's potential for economic transformation is a direct expression of the number of its citizens who have had professional development, skills training, and academic training.
When I was at the Cayfield campus, when I went there as principal, the Owen Arthur government invited me to formulate a strategy to move the Barbados economy to a higher level through education. We came up with the concept that the next transformative stage of the Barbados economy, to make it more diverse, more sophisticated, more competitive, requires a new body of skills on this island.
The Bahamas National Reparations Committee says they are working hard behind the scenes and with the region to ensure the Bahamas will receive justice through reparations.
This is arguably my favorite spot on the island. It's a spot called Sacred Space, created by Bahamian artist Antonius Roberts, and what you're looking at are sculptures which resemble our forefathers with their faces turned toward the coast of Africa from whence they came. This spot is a special one because this is where thousands of slaves were introduced to a life of slavery just off the southwestern tip of New Providence, and now hundreds of years later, the Bahamas National Committee on Reparations is hoping that some form of repayment can be made.
We have a 10-point reparations plan. Reparations in the form of education development, healthcare development, debt cancellation, to name a few.
Topping that list is also a formal apology from colonizers for the atrocities of the transatlantic slave trade.
Not just because we think a sorry would make somebody feel better, right? But that would be a step in saying, okay, you recognize what you're done, so now we can hold you accountable.
According to Bajan Prime Minister Mia Mottley, some countries have already made that apologetic move.
The Netherlands has started the ball. Is it adequate? Is it appropriate? At least the ball has started to roll.
CARICOM nations established reparation committees 10 years ago, so each country is now gunning after retribution.
Really, there is no set amount of money that could really say, okay, now you're good, right? We've paid you this and you're done. But you do need money to develop.
In the Bahamas now, residents affected by soot pollution from the island's power company will not expect to see any compensation from the government. Home Affairs Minister Walter Robben says they can, however, seek remedies through the regulator's Consumer Affairs Department. The minister also revealed funds will be set aside to reinstate monitoring and independent assessments of air quality.
Deputy Premier and Home Affairs Minister Walter Robben said while air quality monitoring had been reduced in recent times, the government is now setting up additional stations. One station was previously in place at a private residence, which will be reinstated, and the results will be evaluated by the Environmental Authority. The Bermuda Institute of Ocean Sciences, or BIOS, will receive a grant of $230,000 to meet their obligations under the Clean Air Act. While earlier this month, Area MP and Government Minister Jason Hayward called for BELCO to offer affected residents free power as compensation for the ongoing pollutants. When asked today whether the government would consider stepping in to offer another form of compensation to residents, he replied,
I think that's a regulatory matter between the regulator and the licensed utility and the residents. I, as the Energy Minister, don't have any comment on that, but clearly what Minister Hayward was trying to express is the, I guess, feeling of the residents and perhaps how some relief might be able to give to them for the situation they're experiencing. But I will leave any decisions up to that to the regulator, the utility, and the resident.
The Bermuda Clean Air Coalition held a private community meeting this week to seek advice from a lawyer on the ongoing soot problem.
There may be remedies that those residents can get through other ways by working through the regulatory process with the RA and certainly with discussions with BELCO. There may be other ways, but at this point, I think that is the most efficient way for them to deal with it.
At least 45 migrants have died in a shipwreck off the coast of southern Italy. More than 80 survivors have been rescued, and 22 of them are now in hospital. Officials say the ship traveled to Italy from Turkey, with those on board trying to reach Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. Al Jazeera's Nadim Baba reports.
The aftermath of a tragedy as the Italian Coast Guard retrieve the dead. This video posted on social media shows some of the dozens of bodies which washed up on the eastern coast of Calabria. More bodies were spotted at sea. These photos show local firefighters looking for survivors. It was night time when a ship crashed on the rocks during rough weather near the resort of Steccato de Cutro. It was reportedly carrying as many as 150 people. Many of them were from Afghanistan. A baby and several children are among the dead. Scores of people have been rescued alive and are being treated by the emergency services. Italy's interior minister has called the incident a huge tragedy which shows the absolute need to act firmly against irregular migration channels. According to the International Organization for Migration, more than 20,000 people have died or gone missing in the central Mediterranean since 2014. Nadeem Barber, Al Jazeera.
Laurence Mondar is head of operation communications at the rescue organization SOS Méditerranée. She says that measures to prevent dangerous illegal sea migrations have been effective.
The whole Mediterranean is a mass grave, and the central Mediterranean, specifically the route where we SOS Méditerranée operate in between Libya and Europe, is the deadliest sea migration route in the whole world. Indeed, people, and when we say people, is not only men, it's women and children, and this tragedy recalls that again, because children apparently sadly died today. People depart, no question of will they be rescued or not. But the thing is, and it's very difficult to understand, people depart and cross in these very, very dangerous routes on unseaworthy boats, overcrowded boats, often without even life jackets, seeking safety. That's crazy. They're risking their life to seek safety. But that is what is happening. It's been happening since 2015. And we need to absolutely understand that and be ready, present, and have as many maritime assets and search and rescue services available to rescue these people.
Well, it has been 20 years since the start of the war in Darfur, a conflict that has killed hundreds of thousands of people and displaced millions more. The fighting has largely ended now, but many of the displaced are still living in camps with nowhere else to go. Al Jazeera's Hiba Morgan has more.
This was once a home in the village of Kasharo in Sudan's North Darfur. As Omar Adam stands amongst the ruins where his home once stood, he remembers his life here before being forced out when the war in Darfur began.
People came and raided the village. There were 6 cars loaded with guns. Some were on horses and some were on camelback. They were from the Arab tribes. They killed the men and burnt the village down and looted property and livestock. We had to escape to the mountains to survive.
The war started in 2003, with Darfuri tribes rebelling against the government and accusing it of marginalization. The government responded with airstrikes and attacks on villages perceived to be allied to the rebels. More than 300,000 people were killed and over 2 million displaced in the years that followed. The UN described the war as ethnic cleansing against the tribes here. And 20 years on, evidence of the war still remains. Hundreds of villages across the Darfur region were burned during the years of war in what was known as scorched earth policy. Many of those who were able to flee are now in camps, waiting for the implementation of a peace agreement signed in 2020 to be able to return home. The deal signed between the government and various rebel groups included compensation for victims of the war, but some displaced people say other issues keep them from returning.
The people who killed us and burned our villages are still out there and they're still armed. We can't leave the camp without being assaulted by armed men or running into pickups with loaded guns on them.
Local authorities say security will be provided for those wanting to return.
We actually agree in Juba Peace Agreement, in a security protocol agreement, that we say that those returnees, they must go back to their original village, and we have to establish the force to carry out the mission for protect them when they are going back to their original village.
Rising inflation is impacting people across the U.S. and in some areas, like in Middle Tennessee, it's affecting public safety. Carly Gordon of CNN reports.
sirens tonight at the corner of Saunders Ferry and Main Street in Hendersonville.
We didn't really know much of anything that was going on except for a hysterical phone call.
Scott Horsley's teenage daughter thankfully unharmed in this head-on collision. Police, firefighters, and EMTs arrived within seconds.
We're very grateful.
It's what you want when emergency strikes. But city officials will tell you these things are getting more expensive.
These costs are just hitting us from every direction.
Eddie Robertson is the chairman of Hendersonville's Capital Projects Committee. He says the new fire truck they thought would cost $750,000 will now cost more than $900,000. Then there's the issue of paying personnel. It's a costly combo, now threatening public safety.
We have to have current equipment. We don't want to put our policemen or firemen in a danger of not being able to respond to a crime or to a fire.
One thing that has helped, sales tax. Thanks to inflation, the city is bringing in a lot more. They've also been relying on federal COVID funds.
And that money's gone.
And so Robertson says cities across the mid-state will have to get creative.
We're going to have to get lean and mean. We're going to have to cut every expenditure we can, and our staff is working real hard to try to find more efficiencies.
Well, coming up on Morning Barbados when you join me at 6:30 this morning, what do you know about the programs in the Faculty of Science and Technology at the Cayfield campus? If little, you'll find out a whole lot more when you stay with me for Morning Barbados this morning. To the bank, the brains, and you, Race for the Kids by Royal Bank of Canada. They'll talk to us a little bit about that event that's coming up and how you can be a part of it. And when our relationship coach joins us this morning on Morning Barbados, we want to look at when your partner wakes up on the wrong side and how you can dissipate what could be a disaster. Join us at 6:30 for Morning Barbados. The Morning Report continues in just a moment.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch
Reaction this morning to a viral video of a major fight at a funeral. It is coming from a funeral director who says he does not wish to see a repeat of that behavior in the future. James Wilson of Downs & Wilson Funeral Home has confirmed the funeral was handled by his company, and while unable to provide a lot of details of the incident, he says it's quite rare for fights to break out.
Never happened before, but I'm finished. I can't really say anything else, unfortunately. It doesn't happen normally, so it's a very unusual situation. Most families and most funerals are usually very much have everything under control. But this is one rare incident which we don't ever hope to see again.
In other news, Export Barbados has been seeing a high demand for its International Food Science Centre. That multi-million-dollar facility was opened last November in Newton Christchurch. Providing the media with an update, Deputy CEO Andrea Burgess says over 50 entrepreneurs have signed up to use the facility.
It has been wonderful so far because it really is filling a need that was there. So we have found that there is high demand for the service, and Through this demand, we're also uncovering new areas where we can support exporters. So, for example, we also produce onion puree, and we are also a facility that offers the HACCP compliance. So our manufacturers do not need to bother their heads about making their produce up to international standards because we have it all covered at our facility at Newton Industrial Estate.
Ms. Burgess says the facility has assisted in the production of a product for export to the United Kingdom.
It was over 200 cases of a pepper sauce for a supplier here in Barbados that we were able to produce in just 2 days to the manufacturer's specifications. So we were very excited about that because the facility was only open on the 28th of November last year. So in short order, we have been able to fulfill our mandate, and from here we just plan to expand and to scale up.
While the rising cost of animal feed remains on the minds of many people, including the AgroFest exhibitors, one farmer and a veterinarian are not worried. They believe changing animals' diets to include local vegetables and even fruit would help to keep breeders' costs manageable and produce healthy animals. Andrew Callender, a beef farmer who has been showcasing his cows at the festival, says he always tries to control his input costs.
I go about with low inputs, yeah? And when I say low inputs, my goal is not to have high feed bills, you know, but they're fed high energy stuff, so skins, fruit, veg, you know, so stuff that is gone off, they would tend to get it, you know. I am not about high protein stuff for sure.
A look at sports now. West Indies head coach Andre Kohli says the players understand the assignment ahead of them as they prepare to face host South Africa in a 2-test series starting on Tuesday. Kohli says the guys seem to have all areas covered.
You want to maintain standards and discipline. Here we're catching behind the wicket, you know, generally because the ball tends to bounce more consistently. Here was something that we definitely have to make sure that, you know, we are on top of. You know, the lengths that we bowl here and our consistency, making sure that we plan well, and then you know, from a batting standpoint, ensuring that there are consistent partnerships throughout the innings from top right through to the bottom. So just ensuring that we're able to tick those boxes, and as the game progresses, showing an awareness in terms of what game situation we may find ourselves in, and then just working together as a team to ensure that we tackle that well.
Meanwhile, skipper Craig Brathwaite was impressed with the bowling performance in the just concluded 3-day warm-up match and says the players just need to settle into their mental zone.
You know, he thought Jordan coming in for his first game, obviously for West Indies, well, practice game, and you know, he showed good skill, good control, and obviously Rawson had a number of overs to bowl, and you know, he was decent. You know, 1 or 2 overs went for a few runs, but you know, he thought he did a good job. Obviously Moti not playing, not being able to bowl in this game, but you know, decent effort from the bowlers. I think down here in South Africa, bowlers will get some assistance from the pitch, and I think it's important not obviously to get carried away. And I think once we stay disciplined and bowl to our fields, whichever field we have set, you know, as a bowling unit, mixed with some aggression, you know, I think we'll do well. From now it's all mental, and we have to be prepared, you know, for this, you know, for this test series.
Well, that first test is set for tomorrow morning at 4 Barbados time. A look at forecast conditions now recorded earlier at the Met Office of the Grant Lee Adams International Airport. At the moment, Barbados 23.8 degrees Celsius under partly cloudy conditions, and the winds are coming from the east-southeast at 19 kilometers an hour. Expect today a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. While tonight will be a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. That's a look at some forecast conditions for some international cities. And that's it for today's edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Pearson Bowen. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Howdy do, good morning to you. Welcome to a brand new week. Welcome to today, Monday. It's the 27th of February. Yes, the 27th of February 2023. I'm Pearson Boyne. So good to have you company. Welcome indeed to those of you watching across the globe on our streams on YouTube and Facebook. Always great to see you and to have you comment and interact with us as well. So continue to do so. We're grateful for your company. Now, coming up today, we will hear of a young man who is following literally in the footsteps of his father, and he is going to share his expertise and his talent. He's just landed his first recording contract. Who is he? Who was his father? And what is his story? We'll tell you this morning, so stick around for that. We'll also this morning meet the recipient of the Silk Cotton Award at the just recently concluded National Youth Awards. Who is that? You will find out this morning as well. There's a musical group on the island from Holland, and they're here at the auspices of the BTMI. We want to know more about why they're here, what they're doing while they're here, and perhaps you can get to enjoy their musical offerings as well. So we'll share those details with you in just a bit. Our relationship coach will join us this morning. We want to hear when you wake up grumpy. In other words, when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and there's stories to tell about that, aren't there? And so sometimes it can create quite a disaster for the rest of the day. So what do you do? How do we deal with that? We will deal with it when our relationship coach joins us in just a little while. The Bank, the Brains and You, Race for the Kids by RBC and the UWI. And how is that event going to play out this year, and what can we all do to be a part of it? We're just days away from its hosting. We'll give you those details also today. I want to get started though by looking at the programs at the Faculty of Science and Technology at the University of the West Indies, what little we know and what much more we can know this morning. And so we're joined by Dr. Janice Badnock, who is the Dean in the Faculty of Science and Technology. With her is Dr. T.S. Canterbury Manning, the Deputy Dean, and Dr. Avril Williams, Head of the Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences. A lot. It sounds almost brainiac. Good morning to each of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
But I think with all of that, we get a broad sense of what's happened, what is offered in the faculty. I'll start with you, Dr. Badnock. Break it down for us about why this faculty exists and some of the successes coming out of its existence.
Well, Pearson, unfortunately, time really won't permit me to really go into a lot of the detail about why our faculty is so important and what we have accomplished. But hopefully at the end of our session this morning, we'll at least create the space for viewers to log in during our week, which is our open and taster week that is going on this week on the campus. So just to tell you a little bit more about that week, the aim of it really is to create greater awareness of our programs, like you mentioned, and of course to allow engagement with our faculty leaders, our program coordinators, and most importantly, our current students and our alumni. So all the events this year will be held virtually in the afternoon. So that's going to create a space where prospective students can pretty much log in from wherever they are across the globe. So just to give you a little bit more detail, Pearson, on Monday, that will be our virtual Come Meet the FST Dean and Faculty Leaders webinar. And that's going to give general information about our programs and our admission requirements. That's important for students to know what they need before they can join us. We will have on our panel our deputy deans like Dr. Canterbury Manning, who's here with us, and our other Deputy Dean of Graduate Studies and Research, Dr. Peter Shamey, or heads of our departments, Dr. Williams, who's also in the audience here with us, and then Dr. Michelle Gittins, who's the head of the Department of Computer Science, Math and Physics, Dr. David Farrell, who's the principal of the Caribbean Institute of Meteorology and Hydrology, CIMH. That center, that institute actually delivers our meteorology program, so he's going to be able to tell you a little bit more about meteorology. And then Dr. David Yawson, our director of the Center for Resource Management and Environmental Studies, CERMES, will tell you a little bit about their program. Now, that's just Monday, Pearson. Just Monday.
And when you say Monday, are you referring to today or next Monday?
Monday, today at 6
okay.
p.m.
Okay.
So on Tuesday, Pearson, because it's a week. So on
Yes.
Tuesday, we're going to present an actual opportunity for prospective students to ask us questions, and we're going to delve into the undergraduate programs. That's also going to be at 6 p.m., a webinar, but you can actually log in and ask all of your questions. And then on Wednesday, similar, but now for the postgraduate programs. And then on Friday, we're going to leave Thursday for a moment for everyone to catch up. But then on Friday, that's where the students will take the lead. And there's going to be a networking session with our current students and alumni. Now, in the past, this has been very popular among our prospective and current students. They found these engagements quite useful and rewarding, especially when our alumni share their journey, how they've navigated through the university, and what they've done since they graduated. So that's what we are going to be doing this week. There's a little bit more though, Pearson.
I know, I can imagine. It's going to be quite an engaging week too. And so Dr. Canterbury Manning, let's talk a little bit about, because we heard Professor Sir Hilary Beckles speak earlier about the development of education, how it develops a community and a society. I'm sure a part of it too is science and technology. Talk to me a little bit about, the people who've been through and some of the benefits that we have derived from, as a community, engaging in science and technology at the UWI.
Well, I can really only speak to you about several things that we have seen directly. And we can see that a lot of our students not only get their education here, they do get international training, and then they come back and they contribute to our society. So if you think about meteorology, we train a lot of students in meteorology, and they leave, they come back, and they contribute to what we need here in the Caribbean. And when we think about all the other sciences, I mean, you can imagine you have chemistry, biology, computer science, math, and a lot of our students will leave and come back, and then you see them contributing in all the levels of society. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, very much it does indeed. And so, Dr. Williams, yours is one of those areas that's so critical today, given all that the world grapples with. We're looking at biological and chemical sciences. Talk to me about what's involved within that particular area. I see Dr. Williams' mouth moving. We'll get to hear her in just a moment once she makes a slight adjustment.
Apologies.
There we are now.
Can you hear me
Yes.
now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, my apologies. Apparently my headphones are refusing to cooperate at this hour of the morning. However, what I was saying is that the Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences is housed within the Faculty in Science of Technology. And you're very correct, Pearson, that over the last few years, especially during the pandemic, we have really seen the importance of the different areas that we have, such as microbiology, biochemistry, as well as chemistry. And I want to take this opportunity here to actually bring to the attention of the Barbadian public the fact that we do have a new entity within the Faculty of Science and Technology that is closely aligned with the Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences, and this is the Center for Commercial Analytical Services, which will be officially launched this Friday, the 3rd of March. And this entity is, my apologies, this entity is set up as an agile, modern analytical facility, and it is conveniently located at the UWI Cayfield campus. And what we envisage this facility to do is to provide analytical testing, environmental, pharmaceutical, agriculture, or food with very, I would say, amenable timeframes and aligned to the budget of the different sectors, while of course saving time and precious foreign exchange for our different customers. And one of the selling points for this particular facility is that we do have access to the widest scientific expertise on the island. So we invite all businesses as well as individuals to contact us at CCAS, CCAS at cavehill.uwi.edu.
You know, Dr. Badnott, this just sounds like such an interesting and exciting faculty in itself. Dr. Honestly, all week long, therefore, all prospective students, those who are interested in doing the sciences, they can now be a part of it and they can get to know a whole lot more. And so, basic qualification levels, if you can share with us, to be a part of the faculty.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. A very good question. At the CSEC level, a prospective student, once they have 5 CSEC subjects, including math and 2 science subjects, they can enter at our preliminary level. If they have CAPE qualifications or an associate degree with a GPA of 2.5 or above, they can enter in our first year level. The CAPE qualifications would have to be in 2 science subjects. So we are asking for 2 CAPE units of 2 disciplines at the CAPE level.
I got you. So whether that's physics or chemistry or biology, that's what you're talking about. And so, Dr. Canterbury Manning, though, you know, if one wants to further their education in science and technology as well, this is also the faculty in which one can.
Yes, so you can further your education with respect to the postgraduate programs. We do have an array of postgraduate programs, not only the research postgraduate programs, but we also have taught masters. So you are coming in to do a particular focus or area. So we do have students that kind of span that whole range of research and taught masters. But I wanted to also draw to your attention that we do have those taster sessions this week. And today in particularly, we have the taster sessions for meteorology, for one of the courses of meteorology, and we have the preliminary biology course, so that the audience can actually get a feel of how we teach and what happens in the classroom. So I'm hoping that everybody will be able to log in and get a glimpse of how we do what we do and how we do it well.
I like the way you said that. How we do what we do and how we do it well indeed. And so, Dr. Badnott, walk us through again what's happening this week. So today is that taster session for meteorology and biology. Yes, what is happening?
So there are actually taster sessions every day.
Right.
Almost
Except
all of
Thursday.
our courses. Yes. Well, even on Thursday, there are taster
Really?
sessions.
No, we have
But there are webinars. There's a webinar on Monday for the general meet the faculty. There's a webinar on Tuesday, which is going to delve into our undergraduate programs. On Wednesday, there's a webinar for postgraduate programs. And then for us, Friday will be a networking session with our current students and the alumni. And all this information is on our social media pages, all of the Zoom links for the webinars on our Facebook. Our handle is UWI Cave Hill FST on Facebook and Instagram. It is UWICHIL_FST, and you can get all of the information and links there.
Listen, if you're in some kind of employment right now, you're a little bored, this is a faculty to consider. If you have a child who is very interested in science and technology, this is the faculty to give great consideration to. And so we encourage all of you viewing today to be a part of it. Starting this evening at 6 o'clock, every single day there's a webinar or some kind of taster for you. So you get a sense of what it is to be enrolled in the faculty and what it takes to be a part of the faculty as well. I want to thank each of you for joining me this morning. Dr. Janice Badnott, the Dean, Dr. Trace Theus Canterbury Manning, these names, the Deputy Dean, and Dr. Avril Williams, who is the head of the Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences. Thank you so much for giving us a taste, truly, of what your department offers, your faculty offers. It sounds very exciting, and I hope that many people do avail themselves online this evening and every day thereafter to be a part of this exchange of information. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Pearson. Have a wonderful
You're very
day,
welcome.
everyone.
Likewise to you, indeed. Thank you so much. We'll take a break here on Morning Barbados. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
14 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock. We want to talk to you a little bit now about this global initiative that supports children and young people across the world. And what is it? It is the RBC Race for the Kids. Joining us to talk about it and this year's activity is Shimon McIntosh, who is the Managing Director and Area Vice President of Business Banking with RBC Royal Bank of Canada. Also, Professor Winston Moore, the Deputy Principal of the UWI Cayfield campus, and Tara Skeet, a student. Good morning to each of you.
Hi, good morning, Pearson.
This is Shimon, I suppose. Shimon, let's talk a little bit about RBC's engagement with this Race for the Kids. What's it about?
Sure. So the RBC Race for the Kids has its origins in New York in 2009 when we had our first race. And since then, it's really expanded. It now includes races, over 18 charitable races, and has had 325,000 participants and raised over Canadian 82 million since inception. In the region, we have races in the Bahamas and Trinidad and Barbados as well. And in the various territories, we tend to partner with different organizations. So in Barbados, we partner with the University of the West Indies, Cayfield campus, and funds raised through this event go to the first year experience, which really focuses on youth health and wellness and mental health, and also through scholarships that we provide to the UE.
The event is on the 12th of March, coming up on the 12th of March. It's a 5K event, and while it's called Race for the Kid, it's not a race, really. It's truly one activity that engages people to give and to be able to help other people in our community as well. So over the years, you've seen the success, you've seen the monies raised for it. Give us a sense of some of the organizations and or individuals who've benefited from this activity.
So Pearson, you hit the nail on the head. It's not just about the race, it's about participation, it's about raising funds for a worthy cause. When you think about education, education has always been an avenue by which people can lift themselves up and really realize their true potential. In Barbados, we have raised 485,000 since the race inception in Barbados, which we started in 2017. So this year is our 7th year of the race. And, you know, the first year experience is really critical to people succeeding in education. So making sure that you focus on mental wellness, that you have that peer mentorship, that scholarships go to people. I mean, you know, even though tuition is paid for, there are other aspects, whether it be accommodation, food, you need laptops, etc., that these scholarships can go a long way to help and support. And when you hear testimonials from students like Tara, who's on the call as well, really, really powerful, and you understand the true benefit of what this program is and what it's meant to be.
So Tara Skeet, as you just called your name, you're one of those who's benefited from it. Talk to me a little bit about how you knew about it and how you have benefited from it.
Okay, thank you for having me. A friend of mine who had applied for scholarships previously when she was at the university told me about the university listing all of the various scholarships that they carry. So I went through that list. RBC's scholarship was one of the ones that I applied for back in 2021, sorry, and I was awarded it in 2022, February.
And so how has it helped you?
So I guess a little background. When I graduated from secondary school, I went to Queen's College. I started working immediately. I was very aware of the financial struggles both my parents were going through. As you could imagine, it is a bit difficult to raise 3 children in this economy. And so, yes, my focus was on working and contributing to the household. And eventually, when I started university in 2017, I was working 3 jobs. It was so difficult to focus on my studies and work because I was supporting myself. I was also paying, at that time, the Barbados government had introduced fees for Barbadian students. And so I was supporting myself, contributing to the household, and paying my tuition as well. So it became very, very difficult in 2017. After a year of studying and my grades suffering, I decided to withdraw from university. And my intention was to save some money to get back to university. Education is important. I ended up working for about 3 to 4 years, gaining experience, and then the COVID-19 pandemic hit and all of my savings disappeared. And so when I started university again in 2021, I applied for this scholarship. I had a 3.9 GPA at that point, and I was successful and was awarded the scholarship. And it really has given me peace of mind, honestly. It's lifted a huge weight off of my shoulders. I now am able to focus fully on school, and that's definitely been reflected in my grades. Right now I'm averaging a 4.1 GPA. And so this scholarship has done great things for me. And all I can do is encourage persons to come out and support this race, because it would benefit future students like me who just need a little assistance in order to reach their full potential.
You know, Shimon, when you hear the story that Tara just shared, it gives every good reason why everyone should lend to this cause indeed. So walk us through the mechanics of the race for the kids and let us know how we can now be a part of it.
Yeah, so Pearson, as you said, I mean, stories like Tara's, I mean, really, really strong testimonials. This is all the reason I'm just calling on UE alumni, the Barbados public, everybody get involved and support Race for Kids. And so you can participate in Race for the Kids by logging on to our website. It's www.rbcraceforthekidsbarbados.com, or you can visit our Charleston Park branch or the UE bookshop Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and from March the 1st, every day, Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The registration closes off on March 9th, so please get in there, register, support funds for a very good cause. And when I hear stories like Tara's and the other recipients of the funds and that we've provided, really makes me proud to be associated with the UE and this project.
Indeed. So again, folks, the website to which you can log on is rbcraceforthekidsbarbados.com. rbcraceforthekidsbarbados.com, or you can go to the Charleston Park branch or the UE bookshop to make your registration fee, pay it in. You get a t-shirt, I suppose, Shimon, you get something that identifies you to be a part of it.
So there are 2 things here. So we've tried to make the race as affordable as we can for the public. So if you choose to wear your own jersey, I would just ask that registration is $20 if you choose to wear your own jersey. But if you want an RBC jersey, then the registration is $35.
And it's a very worthy cause for which you're engaged, folks. And you have your registration closes on the 11th because the event is the 12th. And so we're now joined by Professor Winston Moore. Professor Moore, you know, every opportunity for students to engage with the University of the West Indies and any assistance that they can get is very worthy assistance indeed. Talk to me a little bit about how the university views an effort like this by RBC.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me quite well.
Yes.
The main reason for efforts like these is to really help students at the University of the West Indies who are having difficulties. You know, persons normally assume that given that Barbadian students receive coverage for their tuition by the government of Barbados, that there is no need for assistance. But we have some really situations that really, tug at your heart in relation to student issues. We have students that have lost their jobs, students that, just need money for groceries. And when you hear those stories, those stories normally come across my desk almost every day. And you therefore see that there's a really great need for student assistance, for the hardship fund. And it is events like this that really help to provide financing for these students. In any given year, the University of West Indies usually provides financing for students for hardship to the tune of maybe $50,000 up to $100,000 in some years to help students who are going through difficulties. So, and it is a really difficult situation for the campus because, we're also struggling to pay, our wages and salaries and our bills on a monthly basis. But we do still find funds to assist students who are in difficult situations. The other thing that we use the funds for is that we help students adjust and acclimatize to the university environment. The transition from secondary school to university can be quite difficult for students. So what we do is that we pair those students, those new incoming students, with second and third year students to help them acclimatize, let them know where to go for information, how to sign up for their classes, those type of things. And it is a really good experience. We have some really good feedback from linking those final year students, those second and third year students, with incoming students. And this program, this RBC Race for the Kids, also provides financing for that program. So we really have to thank RBC and for this program. It helps our students and it helps UWI. Many alumni have said that they're very thankful to RBC for the financing that they receive from scholarships and from the hardship fund. So the University of West Indies is very thankful for the funds emerging from RBC Race for the Kids.
Well said, well done indeed, and well done RBC. Now folks, it happens on Sunday the 12th of March at 3:30 the race starts. Well, the event starts. It's not a swift race, so for an oldster like me, who will probably come last, I can still be a part of it, and that's the whole point, that we can all at different fitness levels, we can be a part of this as well, because the funds are really what we're trying to raise here. And so it starts at 3:30 from the Charleston Park branch. So we assemble in adequate time before so that we can have a prompt start at 3:30, and we are off and running. Remember, registration is on as we speak. You can go to the Charleston Park branch, or you can go to the UWI bookshop Wednesdays to Fridays from 9 in the morning till 3 and register. You can either wear your own shirt or you can get one of those branded t-shirts from RBC as well to show your support for Raise for the Kids. They're raising funds to assist those first year experiences for a lot of students who are struggling to make ends meet sometimes and to be able to just manage the transition into University of the West Indies. Life there is not easy, but the reward is satisfying indeed. And so we want to encourage as many of you as possible to register to be a part of this race, RBC Race for the Kids. I want to thank each of you for joining me this morning, and I wish you every success with this event. Shimon McIntosh, Managing Director and Area Vice President for Business Banking. Professor Winston Moore, Deputy Dean, Deputy Principal of the University of the West Indies, and Tara Skeet herself, who has benefited tremendously from the benevolence of the RBC Race for the Kids. Indeed, thank you all. I wish you the best.
Thank you, Pearson.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome indeed. Now, before we get ready to go to break, let me tell you on whose shoulders we stand as black people. We're looking at Black Excellence as we celebrate this month of February Black Excellence. And today we are looking at the achievement of one Charlotte E. Ray. Charlotte E. Ray. And as you know, the story is told that on February 27th, as a matter of fact, 1872, Charlotte E. Ray became the first black lawyer in the U.S. and the first practicing female lawyer in Washington, D.C. This trailblazer of a woman began teaching at Howard University in 1869. When she first was accepted into the Howard School of Law, she applied under the name of C.E. Ray. Why? Because the university was reluctant to admit women at that time, according to the organization. But was able to graduate, she was, in 1872 and opened her own law practice before leaving law to teach, owing to race and gender discrimination that plagued the profession. But she was truly a trailblazer indeed. Her name, Charlotte E. Ray, the first black lawyer in the U.S. That's on whose shoulders we stand. We'll take a break right here. We're coming back with more in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning with a
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 1 minute after 7 o'clock now. Reaction this morning to a viral video of a major fight at a funeral. It is coming from funeral director who says he does not wish to see a repeat of that behavior in the future. James Wilson of Downs and Wilson Funeral Home has confirmed the funeral was handled by his company, and while unable to provide a lot of details of the event, he says it is quite rare for fights to break out.
Never happened before, but I'm finished. I can't really say anything else, unfortunately. It doesn't happen normally, so it's a very unusual situation. Most families and most funerals are usually very much have everything under control. But this is one rare incident which we don't ever hope to see again.
Export Barbados has been seeing a high demand for its International Food Science Centre. That multi-million-dollar facility was opened last November in Newton, Christchurch. Providing the media with an update, Deputy CEO Andrea Burgess says over 50 entrepreneurs have signed up to use the facility.
It has been wonderful so far because it really is filling a need that was there. So we have found that there is high demand for the service, and through this demand we're also uncovering new areas where we can support exporters. So for example, we also produce onion puree, and we are also a facility that offers the HACCP compliance. So our manufacturers do not need to bother their heads about making their produce up to international standards because we have it all covered at our facility at Newton Industrial Estate.
Ms. Burgess has also disclosed the facility has assisted in the production of a product for export to the United Kingdom.
It was over 200 cases of a pepper sauce for a supplier here in Barbados that we were able to produce in just 2 days to the manufacturer's specifications. So we were very excited about that because the facility was only open on the 28th of November last year. So in short order, we have been able to fulfill our mandate, and from here we just plan to expand and to scale up.
Well, while the rising cost of animal feed remains on the minds of many people, including the AgroFest exhibitors, one farmer and a veterinarian are not worried. They believe changing animals' diets to include local vegetables and even fruit would help to keep breeders' costs manageable and produce healthy animals. Andrew Callender, a beef farmer who has been showcasing his cows at the festival, says he always tries to control his input costs.
I go about with low inputs, yeah? And when I say low inputs, my goal is not to have high feed bills, you know, but they're fed high energy stuff. So skins, fruit, veg, you know. So stuff that it's gone off they would tend to get it. You know, I am not about high protein stuff for sure.
Well, that's our look at the news until now. We'll have more news on TV8 at 12 noon in the CBC Newsday. Morning Barbados comes back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Matchback Extra.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 6 minutes now after 7 o'clock here on Morning Barbados today, Monday the 27th of February. Still to come, we'll have that conversation with our relationship coach when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed even. Ooh, what a day of rejoicing some will not have, and certainly we want to talk a little bit about that when our relationship coach joins us in just a little bit. Also today you'll get to meet that young man who is a prodigy really. He's really following in the footsteps of his father. Who was his father? And what is this young man so good at doing? He will join us this morning to talk a little bit about his skill set. But where do we go from here, Mr. Man? It's now 7 minutes after 7 o'clock. I'm waiting to hear some direction here, but still to come a whole lot more. Plus, we'll get to meet the recipient of the National Youth Award Silk Cotton Award. Now, time to talk to our relationship coach, Dr. Denise Charles. Good morning to you, Dr. Charles.
Good morning, Pearson.
Good to see you. Listen, last week, when was it? Thursday, I think it was. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, ironically, and my producer also did at the time. And so, right away, we knew that was the conversation we had to have. When someone wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, edgy, till thy kingdom come, and somehow puts pressure on the rest of the day for that relationship. How do we manage that?
Pearson, this happens to all of us. The thing is, we have to know our partner really well. And it's going to be different for different individuals dependent on how long they've been together. If you just got together with someone and you only know one side of them, if you're exposed to that other side, it may hit you for 6, But it really requires that we know our partner very well. We understand that we're not always going to be in a good mood. There are going to be mornings, there are going to be evenings when something ticks us off, something has ticked us off, we've had a bad day, or perhaps we had a bad dream or a nightmare.
True.
Something happened and we're under pressure, we feel stressed, and we just wake up on that wrong side of the bed. How do we cope with that? I think we have to understand that our partner has many layers to their personality. We're not just one way all the time, and we have to roll with the punches when these things come. And don't escalate the situation by going overboard and ending up on the same side that they're on. I think that is what is very, very important. Don't end up on the same side. If I walk up on a bad side, do not get up on that same side with me. Understand that I'm perhaps going through a moment. Sometimes it pays to be quiet, Pearson.
True.
Say nothing.
So true, so true. Because the first thing out of our mouth would be, what wrong with you? What you getting on so, as we say in Bajan language,
And we begin, go ahead.
And right away, we put our backs against the wall. It's like, oh, listen. Let me not get into character, but you know what I'm talking about. Right
What
away,
happens,
we get defensive.
Pearson, very often, what happens, I can tell you from my own experience as well. When our partner is in a foul mood, invariably we think it has something to do with us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we begin to look inside and we're saying, what did I do now? What did I say? Is he angry with me for something? Is she angry with me because of something I said or did? And sometimes it has nothing to do with us. Sometimes the individual is just going through, a moment Remember, we women, we can be very hormonal. So, guys, you have to, be patient with us. It could be a case of premenstrual syndrome. It could be a case of perimenopause. It could be a case of menopause. Our hormones sometimes just go out of whack and we're in a foul mood. And guys go through these things too. We don't talk a lot about this, but men are also influenced sometimes by hormonal changes. I know it's not a subject that we hear a lot, but it does happen. And a man can go through a low period. He can go through a period where he feels, challenged by work, challenged by the pressures of life, and as a result, he's just not in a good mood. What do we do? We don't lose hope. We don't lose faith in the relationship. We don't think automatically that everything is crumbling and go south in terms of thinking the worst. But I think we have to just wait it out sometimes. Sometimes you just be quiet, allow your partner to come around when they're ready. And if you think that it requires your intervention because it seems pretty serious to you, then have that conversation with them. But don't go accusing them of things when you're not sure exactly what it's all about.
So true, but it could rest on your mind for the whole day, especially if you have to go to work. This thing is bothering you. Why isn't the partner opening their mouths and saying what's wrong? And you're right. Was it me? What did I do? What didn't I do? Those kinds of things happen to you, and you're lost in your own misery, and so it makes the rest of the day miserable. Not just for you, but you bring home that misery too. You create another stage of misery.
It takes two to tango, it takes two to tangle up, So what I'm saying is, if you recognize that your partner is in a foul mood or is depressed or seems not to be, as cheerful as he or she normally would be, I think, as I said earlier, don't go into that space with them. Don't become like that because they're behaving like that. Seek to cheer them up. Maybe call them during the day with a "I love you," send a text message, do something nice for your partner. Don't be so self-focused. Sometimes we tend to be very self-focused, and as I said, we think automatically that it has something to do with us when it may have nothing to do with us. So I think we need to be very understanding, use a quiet voice. Sometimes you might just need to touch him on his leg, on his knee, with a squeeze, or on her shoulder with a squeeze, or you just do a neck massage or a temple massage that they haven't asked for. Just be nice, do something, give them a hug. You understand what I'm saying?
I get you.
You sense that your partner is a bit upset, a bit low. Do something really wonderful for that person that they will not be expecting. And I can assure you that generally would be met with a positive response, even if it doesn't immediately put them into a good mood. I am sure you're sowing seeds for a better connection later on.
And that's a good point. You're sowing seeds, because if you touch me at that point, I don't want to be touched. Don't touch me, and there are people who are like that. So you have to know the particular medicine to apply to the particular situation.
You have to know your partner, Pearson. I began with that. You have to know your partner. But I know that knowing your partner, it is something that, it travels. It is not set in stone. It is something that moves. It is a journey. Knowing your partner is a journey. So how I know my partner after 2 years won't be the same after 5 or 10 or 15 years. We learn our partner as we continue in the relationship. So it's important to begin the right way, at least with that sort of basic knowledge about your partner, but then understand that there are going to be things about your partner that you don't know. We don't know everything about our spouse. We don't know everything about the person that we may be with. It takes time, and we're going to see that different situations will cause our partners to respond in different ways. You might have seen your partner as somebody who always had everything under control, who always seems to have an answer for every issue or challenge. But then one particular thing happens, and you are sort of amazed at how your partner has responded. He or she is not the in control type of person that you have come to know and love. You see a different side of them. But what do? Do you stop loving them because they're different in that moment? No, we have to understand. We have to love all sides of the person that we're with.
But cheese on bread, Denny's. After 2 years, it is still going on. This grumpiness every time you hit a mood, And that's the thing,
If you're noticing a perpetual problem in your partner in terms of how he or she deals with stress, or how he or she deals with challenges, then that may be of critical concern. Because it's one thing to have an off mood every once in a blue moon, But if every Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there's a pattern, you know, to your mood. You may want to dig a little deeper to find out what exactly is going on. There may be something happening at work on those days. There may be something that your spouse isn't looking forward to. There may be somebody in the workplace that is causing him or her to feel challenged. You know, there may be something in their personal life that they haven't shared with you. So, I mean, there can be so many variations as to why your partner is perhaps having cyclical moods. Well, apart from what I spoke about just now, when it's a woman, it may be linked to her cycle. So if it's something that's happening monthly, and you recognize it is happening maybe every 3 weeks or so, it may be linked to premenstrual syndrome or something like that, you know. But if there's something personal going on in your partner's life and you're not aware of it, this is time perhaps for a conversation, but one that is not confrontational, one that is not angry from you because you are fed up with this behavior, but one that is laced with understanding and compassion, because we all have these moments at times.
We're going to take a moment right now. I'm coming back to you in just a minute, Dr. Denise Charles. We're having a conversation with Dr. Denise Charles. When you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, how do you solve a problem like that? How do we avoid a disaster? We're coming right back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Dr. Denise Charles remains with us as we continue our conversation looking at when your partner wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. Now, for me, there are two things here. Both parties have something to fix. Either the one who is grumpy and the one who is being meted out with this grumpiness as well. So let's fix the one who is grumpy. What recommendations would you give to them so that they don't destroy what could potentially be a good relationship?
Well, Pearson, first, I don't think we should be too hard on the individual who's grumpy. This is life. We're not always going to be in a good mood. And if we're adults, we have to understand that we do go through these phases. We do go through these changes in our mood and our attitudes. You know, that's a part of life. And I think that if you are in a relationship with someone, you're an adult, you have to understand that this happens. This is life and life happens. However, the individual who is grumpy, I think that if they recognize that it is causing significant challenges in the relationship, if it is something that is happening too often, then I think they need to look at themselves. They need to understand, well, I am with this person. I don't want to destroy what we have together. I don't always want to be put in a bad mood in the relationship. But you know, these things can happen at the worst times. Like, for example, on birthdays or Valentine's or those special moments when we're looking to celebrate somebody's in a bad mood and it spoils everything. You know, so you don't want to be the one who's responsible for bringing that kind of negative energy into the relationship. So I think you need to look at yourself if you recognize that this is causing a challenge in the relationship and try to address it, try to change your attitude. That's easier said than done if it is something that you've been struggling with for a long time. If you don't have a good handle of your own emotional energy, you don't understand yourself. And I'm always speaking about self-understanding. Self-understanding is one of the keys to a successful relationship. If you don't understand who you are, and you don't understand what ticks you off, you don't understand the things that sadden you or enrage you, then you have little opportunity to try to bring control to those areas of your life. So I always speak to individuals about the need to self-reflect, to look inside periodically, spend some time with yourself, you know, examining your attitudes, examining how you operate operate on a day-to-day basis. And if you see and you recognize that there's something that you're doing that is causing your partner whom you love lots of challenges, and it's bringing a foul mood and a foul energy into the relationship, then it's your responsibility, if you care about your partner and about your relationship, to bring a halt to that as much as possible. If you're the other person.
The other person, the one on. Okay, so I didn't wake up grumpy, but she did. And so now I have to live with this burden throughout the rest of the day with a grumpy Annie. So let's talk a little bit of what I now need to do so that I can manage my emotions right through this situation.
Okay, now don't be too hard on the individual and don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself some time and some space to feel upset. Admit that that's how you feel, but then move on from it. Your life is not controlled completely by your relationship. You know, I love relationships, I love love, I love marriage, I love all these things, but that does not wholly define who I am, and it shouldn't. So if your partner is in a foul mood, you've spoken to it, you've tried, you've tried to get them into a nice mood, you've done the nice things, you've done everything, and nothing is changing, then don't allow that to define your day or to define you. Understand that you are more than that. You're an individual on your own, because as much as we talk about the two becoming one, you still remain your own person. So I think it's important that we self-care. We have value for ourselves. We understand that we are worth something. And if your partner is refusing to change or refusing to budge, and you've done the things that you think you needed to do, then continue on smartly. Enjoy your day. Seek to pull some positive energy into your day. And it's not going to be the same way the next day or the next 2 days. Give him or her some time. You do your own self-care regimens for that day. Make sure that you spend some time with yourself, that you make yourself feel valuable, however small a time you take to do that, or however long a time you take to do that. Sometimes it's just about thinking through the moments. And I think that at the end of the day, you're still going to end up feeling positive about yourself if you do these things.
None of us likes tiptoeing around people or situations, and sometimes the situation can be so tense that you feel as if you have to be so quiet because you really don't want to be the powder keg that starts the war. And so how do you live with that, because it's difficult to do for some people?
Yeah, it's difficult to have to be regulating your behavior because of the behavior of someone else. We want to be free to be who we are. And as I said, if this is something that is happening perennially in the relationship, it's always like this, then you need to look at it. You need to look a little closer at it. Maybe you need to do some counseling together. If it is a real serious problem, where you find that every couple of days your partner is in a bad mood and you have to be tiptoeing around them, you're not free to be yourself, you're not free to be expressive because you're afraid of offending him or her. We're not supposed to live in fear in a relationship. So if your relationship causes fear or it limits who you are, you feel controlled, you don't feel as if you are in a safe space, because we're laughing, Pearson, but this could be serious. You don't feel safe, you don't feel free to be who you are, to be expressive, etc. There may be something happening in that relationship that's tantamount to emotional abuse. We haven't spoken about that in these terms, but there could be something like that happening. So I think if it is really serious, you need to do some serious introspection with respect to the relationship and perhaps seek external help. If it is, however, manageable, it is something that happens once in a blue moon, you can still speak to it when your partner is in a better mood. And because just as we change and we grow and we improve, relationships do the same. A relationship doesn't start out, a marriage doesn't start out at 100 from day one. If you think back to who you were 5 years ago, Pearson, and if I think back to who I was 10 years ago, I am so different today because I'm growing, I'm improving, I'm developing all the time. And I love the idea and the area of self-growth and self-development. So the same thing happens to a relationship. A relationship grows through phases, it grows, it changes, it develops. And if that isn't happening, then you need to give your relationship a serious look.
Run away, as Sam Francine said. Now, what about social media commenters says, just look at your partner and say good morning with a smile. Easier said than done. Easier said than done.
It is hard to maintain a foul mood when you're being surrounded by niceness, though.
You serious?
Some people might still be very good at doing it because they're very good at being angry. They're very good. If that's a term we could use, you understand what I mean?
I do.
At demonstrating that negative energy. But if you meet it consistently with positive energy, and you put good things out there, you say good things, you affirm your partner, you do that encouraging word, you do that shoulder squeeze, that hug, that I love you, even if it doesn't break through to them immediately, I can assure you that if you sow those seeds, as I said earlier, continuously, it will begin to break down the barriers. But as I said, if this is a serious problem that is continuing, it's happening far too often, then I think you need to do some serious relationship introspection, because you may actually need to go through some level of counseling to get to the bottom of it. What is really behind this? You know, it may not be something that you're even thinking about. It might have nothing to do with you. It may be something that is very personal, something that your partner is transitioning through that they're not even talking to you about. They may not feel comfortable talking to you about it. Suppose your partner got a diagnosis that they are ill, but they haven't shared it with you. Right. Or perhaps they heard they may be in for a job cut. You don't know what they're going through, that they may be hiding from you. And that's another conversation altogether with respect to communication.
Right. You're asking me to understand. You're asking me to step outside of myself and understand for the sake of the sauce. And I really don't want to understand. I want you to open your mouth and tell me. In other words, you know. And so it's difficult. We know it's difficult for a number of people. It's difficult when if you're not a morning person. For instance, when I use myself, you listen. I'll use myself as an example. Early in the morning, I don't talk. I don't talk a lot. Even the production crew will tell you, I come in, I'm very quiet, I'm to myself.
You take a while to warm up. I understand that totally. I'm very much like that too. I'm very much a night person. You know, I take a while to warm up on the mornings. So I understand that totally.
But then once you get going, you get going. And it's for the partner to understand that, you know, there are certain times I'm not being grumpy necessarily, I'm just being quiet. And so it's for that level of understanding. That's where you say you're quite right. You're growing in love, then you understand that as part of the growth progress. But you know, you can grow out of love. You're quite right. You can grow out of love, because there comes a time when you say, that's enough. I've had enough. I've had enough what feels to me, as you've described, to be emotional abuse. I won't put up with it anymore, because you seem not to be making the effort to break this thing. You recognize that you're causing me angst. You recognize that you're making me upset when you're not sharing enough, and you persist. Okay. Well, I'm done with that.
Yeah, we have to draw the line somewhere. I talk a lot about relationship boundaries when it comes to other people and their behavior, but there's also a need for relationship boundaries within the relationship itself, in terms of knowing what you will not put up with, what you will not tolerate. Now, I'm not saying you just throw your relationship aside because there's some challenge, because if you do love someone, you're going to be willing to work through the challenges with them, but you're not going to just sit back and accept it. I believe in loving confrontation, lovingly confronting the individual and getting them to talk about what the issues and the challenges are, and if they're finding it difficult to share with you something that is deep, that is happening to them, or that has happened to them that they haven't shared with you as yet, well, then that's another issue in the relationship with respect to openness and intimacy. Because when we talk about relationships, Pearson, we're talking about being intimate with this person. Intimacy is not just about that physical intimacy, but it's about emotional intimacy and opening yourself, being vulnerable with someone else. And I find particularly this is a bit challenging for men to be vulnerable with the women in their lives. It's not something that they're accustomed to doing, because many men expect to be judged if they show a bit of vulnerability, you know, if they show what they may interpret as emotional weakness. You know, it is not something that as a society we readily embrace. You know, we don't embrace a man crying, we don't embrace a man, some of us that is, showing what may be perceived by some as weakness. It's not really weakness to me, it's strength, because it takes a whole lot of strength to expose every side, every facet of yourself. You know, so I think this is a space that we women particularly have to create in relationships, where our men feel comfortable sharing their soft, vulnerable side, and take that pressure off of them, so they don't always feel as if they have to be large and in charge and in control, because that's impractical and it's not healthy.
No. Can you see what's on the screen, that commentary there from Marcia Rock? Look at, can you see it? She says, men don't know how to communicate, especially Bajan men, so it is hard to know what is going on with them.
That is a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement, and that is a criticism we often hear with respect to relationships. We look at it from the perspective of socialization and how we socialize our boys, whether we should socialize them to be verbal and to communicate difficult feelings and so on. Do we help them with that? I think a lot of us today are trying to reverse that trend, or have tried and continue to try. And this is something that as parents we have to recognize. We do need to socialize our males differently. We have to get our teen boys or adolescents talking about their feelings. And I think there are some men's groups now trying to redress a lot of that by getting males to discuss these things. Because if you raise a boy, you raise a male in a particular way, then you expect that when he becomes an adult and he gets involved with a woman, that he will suddenly, automatically, magically know what to say and how to engage with her, when he has not been doing this level of engagement or even introspection, because you haven't gotten him into that space where he looks and reflects on himself. Then we're really asking for something that is miraculous. And that's not going to happen just so off the bat, unless the guy is somebody who does his own, self-development. He goes on his own journey, by perhaps reading and listening to things and podcasts and videos, etc., that can help him to change and help him to grow and develop himself. So this thing about men not communicating, this is a complaint we've heard for years. I've certainly heard lots of it as a counselor, that men have challenges with communication. But sometimes we women, I don't like to let women off completely, because we have challenges too. And we sometimes like to lord it over men. We are very demanding, and we expect that the man is going to behave and treat the situations in exactly the same way that we do. And that's impractical, because men aren't women and women aren't men. Apart from socialization, we hear about nature versus nurture. I think in terms of the nature of a man, maybe his hormones, his chromosomes, whatever it is, he's different. He's different to us. A man is different to a woman.
Yes.
And we have to accept that. It doesn't make one less or better than the other. We're just different. And that those differences are designed that we complement each other when we do get together. I always tell my husband, I wouldn't want to be married to me.
Honestly.
And I say that I acknowledge my own limitations. I have limitations. I have strengths, but I also have limitations. And I appreciate the strengths that my husband add to the relationship. I add strengths and he adds his own. So we have to look at a relationship as a partnership. No person has it all together. And sometimes we act as if we're perfect, but we're not.
No. Oh, Dr. Denise Charles, is always good to talk to you indeed, But one of the most damning things a man will want to hear is, you and a man? Oh my goodness. That's
exactly.
That pierces immediately. But that's a conversation.
It's a horrible statement to make.
Tell them. But that's a conversation for another time.
And that's another conversation, person.
As always, thank you so much for joining. When is the next live? I'm going to ask you again.
I know. We're hoping to do one Sunday coming. Okay?
Sunday coming.
Because every evening this week I am engaged. So Sunday coming, I'm not sure what date that is. That's the first Sunday in March, if I'm not mistaken. That's when we'll be doing our live.
The 5th of March.
Yes.
All right. Good. So, folks, the 5th of March, we're going live. Look for her on social media. Dr. Denise Charles on Facebook.
That's right.
In the PM, indeed.
Yes.
It's always in the PM. It's going to be good. It's going to be good, I tell you. I've been there, so I know what I'm talking about. But thank you, as always, for joining us this morning and sharing as our relationship coach. I think we better understand now how to handle the grumpy person, whether it's ourselves or our partner. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Pearson. Have a great day.
As always, you do too. Thank you so much. Morning Barbados takes a break here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.ve, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
You know, the time is moving so swiftly. It's already 26 minutes to go to 8 o'clock right here on Morning Barbados today, as we turn our attention now to a partnership of sort. That's because from Holland, the Eternity Musical Group is here. And to talk to us a little bit more about that is Marsha Aline, my friend, BTMI Chief Product Development Officer. Marsha Greenwich, my friend from Israel Level Foundation. And we welcome to Barbados Otmar Watson, a representative of the Eternity Musical Group from Holland. To each of you, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good to see you, Otmar. Indeed, I noticed that Marsha Allen is not yet on. We'll get her in just a moment. But Marsha Greenwich, talk to me a little bit about what it means. How are you doing to have the Eternity Musical Group here on the island? What are you doing with them?
We are elated. This is a plan that came in. You know, sometimes you have a projection, you have a goal, and to see it actually coming into motion, it feels really, really good. This is a group that I would say found us by chance. They saw us performing. They wanted to be a part of a linkage to the Caribbean. We were invited to meet them, and the rest is history, basically. And Barbados, you know, we have a lot of talent here. Israel Level, we've been around for 33 years. So when we have any of these opportunities to harness the talents and the positivity amongst our members, from the youngest to the oldest, we always feel happy about that. So we are elated.
This is sweet. So, Otmar, here it is. Marsha just said that you guys found them, they found you too. So talk to me a little bit about this relationship between yourselves, the Eternity Musical Group and the Israel Level Foundation. Otmar? Okay, Otmar seems to be stopped, but Marsha Aline is here. Marsha, good morning. Marsha Aline of the BTMI, the Chief Product Development Officer. Marsha, can you hear me? We'll try to get that sorted. I'm staying with you, Marsha. Indeed. So here it is now. They found you. And so in what ways are you partnering while they're here?
We are going to be doing a number of workshops. So it's a basic exchange. So a cultural exchange. We will be teaching them. They will be teaching us. And then we have a showcase on Saturday the 4th at Prince Cave Hall. So during the week, we would be having the exchanges between the three groups. The three groups comprise Israel Level Foundation, Eternity, and then we have Is a Vibe as well. So it's a full Kahabla pot. Nice. On Thursday is the only day that the public gets to join in. That will be from 6 until 7. But then anyone, once you are in that 150 portion, you are admitted by ticket only. You come on Saturday and see the full presentation, or the showcase as we would call it.
Let me break this down. So Thursday, what happens on Thursday?
Thursday is the day that any person from Barbados that wants to join in the show, in the actual workshops, they can come in from 6 to 7. Right. But from today right up until Friday, we would be having workshops with the three groups that are part of the exchange, that being Eternity, Is a Vibe, and Israel Level. Right. We are doing a fusion, or exchange as it calls. So basically we are doing this end where Eternity came to Barbados, and further down the year, the two groups, Is a Vibe and Israel Level, would then be heading off to Holland to do the same thing.
Nice. Yes. And then on Saturday at Prince Cave Hall is when we get to see it all, right?
Yes, the showcase.
And that's by ticket.
Ticket only. It's free, but because they're limited seating, we had to print some tickets so that we don't overbook, and then you'd have an uncomfortable experience.
Indeed, so well done. So Otmar, I think I can get you to talk to me now, Otmar, and Marsha as well. Marsha, good morning. Marsha Ali.
Good morning.
Good morning.
God, gosh, we got you, Marsha.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you very well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Awesome. Otmar, just give me a minute. Marsha, as Chief Product Development Officer with the BTMI, it must mean so much for us to be able to have these linkages, Barbados and Holland, Holland, Barbados.
Absolutely, Pearson. I mean, Marsha would have said, it warms her heart. To us, it gives us great joy to be able to actually have these linkages. And I don't know if she would have actually spilled the beans and let you know that some of the persons who are in the musical band are actually Barbadian second and third generations. They can trace their ancestry back to Barbados. Yes. And I just find that so fascinating because, we would have said, I think, before in other programs that there's a huge ancestral genealogy market, niche market within our tourism industry. And just to think that these percussionists just came to Barbados and we've already discovered that they have roots where their grandparents or great grandparents would have actually been Barbadians. I think that's phenomenal.
Phenomenal, but it's also they have become now good ambassadors too to take the word back to the
Absolutely.
Netherlands to
Absolutely.
talk about us as well. And Marcia, Aline, still with you, talk to me a little bit more about what Barbados is doing to penetrate those markets and how are we crafting spaces here on the island to be able to expose our product.
Well, you see, the thing is, Pearson, that we do have a director in our European market, and she covers not just Europe, but a lot of those Scandinavian countries, such as the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, and places like that. And the Barbados actually does have great appeal to those persons because not only do they come to Barbados for, of course, our sea, sun, and sand, but they love the history and the heritage. And I believe that Barbados has a tremendous amount of heritage assets that we can expose to them, and having this group here exposing them to what is Barbados, the history, the heritage, the ancestral linkages absolutely will redound well to the source markets within the Netherlands. And I'm sure that we'll probably have a much larger group next year wanting to come to our island. But it's also about an exchange because we learn through cultural exchanges. And I think that this is an opportunity for us to grow, get better, and so that we can learn what is it we need to do, ensure that we encourage more persons from Holland and places like that in Barbados as well. So it's a great opportunity.
So Otmar, now, are you Barbadian, Otmar?
One of my grandfathers is from Barbados. His name is Hunt, and he moved to Panama Canal. He worked over there, and then when the Panama Canal was finished working, then he moved to Suriname. And in Suriname, he met the mother of my grandmother, and they married, and then the children is coming from there. And so, yeah, I'm one of his children.
You are one of us, Otmar Watson.
Yes.
That the last name alone says you are one of us. And so how has it been for you discovering all of this and discovering now you're having your feet on this rock of ours called Barbados?
It was very great because my parents, actually my mother always say we are Bijan. I don't pronounce it good, but she say we're Bijan, and also other families say to me, yeah, we are from Barbados, and I never know what was the link. So when I was here in January also before COVID, then I go to the archives and to investigate the names, and I find the link. I found the document of my great-grandfather who was moved to Suriname. So it was very great to be on an island when I know that one of my ancestors is coming from here.
Lovely. Describe for me what your group offers, the Eternity Musical Group. What is it that you do? And then explain to me this linkage with the Israel Level Foundation.
Yes, Eternity Percussion, we exist now 20 years. Last year we celebrate our anniversary big. And we are a cultural organization with a drum band, a Caribbean drum band, and we're based in Amsterdam, Saudis. I don't know if you know how Amsterdam is located, because in Amsterdam Southeast, I think 90% of the people who live in Amsterdam Southeast of African descendants. So we live there. We have our own building, small building, and we do a lot of music rehearsal with young people, with children. But we have also an artist band. And we are now with the artist band here in Barbados to do an exchange with Israel Love Foundation and also with ISA 5. And but we are traveling around the world because we have been in several countries like Brazil. We do exchange in Brazil. We go to Gambia. We have also been in South Africa. So we're doing a lot. And I think in 2010 or 2011. I was in Trinidad on vacation, and we said, let's go to Barbados because I already know the link with my ancestors. We go to Barbados. We came here in Barbados, and then I asked somebody on the street, I want to meet a cultural organization, and that person, said to me, you have to go to Israel for Foundation. And so we go to there, and there we met Mother Hunt and Corey Bradshaw.
Wow.
And so the link is starting to do something, and then we say we have to do an exchange. We was trying to do an exchange, then we get not funding, and then we try it again, then we get funded, but then COVID come. So we stopped the project for more than 2 years, and now we can come in the country. I think there's no COVID more, so then we are here.
So Greenwich, talk to me a little bit while they're here now, because there's going to be this cultural exchange, and you're all percussionists. So talk to me a little bit about what the workshops are going to be doing, what instruments you're going to be playing, and the sound that one can expect from it.
Well, Pearson, the first thing, let's go. We're Bajan, so tuck, all the way tuck. We're gonna have the tuck. We're gonna have our usual the djembe and the just percussion. So you're gonna have our rhythm section playing, matched with the traditional. You can have the penny whistle. We have Carl Smith on board. It's gonna be a kahablapa of Bajan matching, because we all tied ancestrally, culturally. So it might be something that you never saw before. It might be a fusion of Bajan enhanced by the Eternity Band enhanced by the Tuck. So it might be something new that has been started. I mean, talking about it gives me cool bumps, because the possibilities are endless. And Corey, big ups to Corey.
Yes.
As Atmar said, we have to be thankful for Mother Hunt, for Papa, which is Mr. Prescott. These persons, when we come to them, they never say no. So Atmar came to us, they spoke to Corey, and it was like, all right, we do this. We get all the old heads. No, I confess I'm an old head. So we all come together and we say, yes, we can do this, because at the end of the day, when we are sitting down in our rocking chairs, we want the young ones to come up and keep that process going as we have been doing over the years. So we are happy. The tuck going to be there, the traditional sounds. And listen, I don't want to let too much out the bag, but just to hear these guys come together and sing, it's
wow.
No words can explain the talent that would be exhibited on Saturday.
Atmar, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I want to more. We are from Suriname. All the drummers, all the percussions are from Suriname. And Suriname, the country in South America.
Yes.
So in Suriname, we have a lot of African traditional music. And so we're going to bring it also in this exchange. This is also very important. So we are from Holland, but we are actually very close to each other, because we're also from Suriname, but we live in the Netherlands.
Indeed. And so, Aline now, Marsha Aline, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about, Barbados positioning itself really globally as a strong player in all the market spaces.
Absolutely. And, as we are actually going into the emerging markets, and we're talking about places like Africa or West Africa, when I listened to the exchange just now, it just also, filled me with so much joy and enthusiasm, because that's exactly what we want to do. Cultural heritage is so important to the landscape of the tourism industry. And it is also very, very important to understand that there's a huge link between culture, our music. When we think about why people travel and what they actually come to Barbados to do, it is the music they want to experience, it's the food, and it's the culture. And what we're trying to do is bring together that potpourri of all of them on one landscape. And besides the program at Prince Cave Hall, we will be exposing our visitors and our locals to this entire fusion through a number of activations that we're actually doing throughout the week as well. And so we're excited. We actually have our special loyal visitors reception, I think, on Friday, and they'll be performing along with Israel Level. And so we are looking forward to that awesome fusion to bring together one voice from a musical, cultural integration.
Very well said. One voice for this musical cultural integration. So Greenwich, just give us a date. It's on Saturday, Prince Cave Hall. What time?
The time is, I think it's 4:00, and it's for 1 hour.
Right.
1 hour.
Yes.
So you can call Mother Hunt or Corey. The numbers are 231-7031 or Corey 242-1983, and you can get your tickets.
All right, so get your tickets fast. It's absolutely free, but there are only limited numbers, 150 for you to see this wonderful coming together of Holland and Barbados at the Prince Cave Hall, all part of the development of our culture and our cultural landscape and the product known as Barbados, which is so proudly endorsed. Indeed, to each of you, I say thank you very, very much. I'm looking forward to Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock or so. Prince Cave Hall, we are all going to be there. Thank you, Marcia Aline, the Chief Product Development Officer with the BTMI. Always good to see you, Marcia. And Marcia Greenwich, always good to see you as well from the Israel Lovely Foundation. Yes. And Otmar Watson, my brother. Welcome to Barbados again, and we wish you and your team, Eternity Musical Group, all the very best while you're here. Look out for an explosion, folks, on Saturday afternoon from 4. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. Likewise. Morning Barbados takes a break here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world. There is a
morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
9 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. Just a few weeks ago, at the Frank Cullimore Hall were the National Youth Awards. And so in the category for the Silk Cotton Award, the nominees are... And the award goes to that individual who champions sustainable development and climate change mitigation. If I said all of that, do you have any idea who that awardee and recipient is? That's right, Ashley Lashley of the Ashley Lashley Foundation. Ashley, good morning.
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
Congratulations on your award. What does it mean to you to be recognized nationally at the National Youth Awards?
Honestly, words can't express how honored I am to have received this award, especially after 4 years of starting my advocacy journey on sustainable development and climate change through the formation of the Hey Campaign, Pearson. But honestly, after receiving this award, the climate crisis continues to disturb so much of our lives, not only in Barbados, but across the world. And honestly, after receiving this award, I want to dedicate, or I have dedicated this award to all the other young persons who are also advocating for the necessary climate action within our countries.
I like that. For you, it's never about you. It's always about so many other things and so many other people as well. And so congratulations on that. That space from which you give is truly big, and it's able to encompass so many others as well. So when you sat in the Frank Cullimore Hall on that evening, and how many other nominees do you remember in your category?
I think there were 2 other nominees besides myself.
Yep, and then you heard their citations because, people read out what they were being nominated for. Did you think it was you who would receive the award, or did you think it had to be one of them?
Honestly, I wanted it to be me, but Pearson, so nervous. My belly was in knots, and I didn't know what was going to happen that evening. So my mom was sitting next to me, and I was like, "Mommy, I think I may need to use the bathroom." And she was like, "Ashley, just relax." And my name was called out. Everything suddenly went away, and I was indeed excited, happy, and honored. So much emotions went through me that evening. But again, I was honored because I know of the work in which I have put in through my advocacy and the formulation of the foundation and the global campaign in which we have. And what was also amazing was that Last year, through the Hey campaign, we were able to award 3 young persons globally a grant of 5,000 US dollars. And one of the recipients of one of the national youth, Don Leacock, he was actually one of the recipients of the Hey campaign climate grant fund. So it was great that he was the person presenting me with the award. So that was also another remarkable moment in which I shared during during the National Youth Award ceremony.
When you take a deep breath and you pause for just a moment and you reflect on all you've done and where you've been, the people you've made a difference, in whose lives you've made a difference, how does Ashley Lashley feel?
Honestly, it's a big reflection upon myself, to be honest, Pearson, because apart from the work in which you and Barbados have seen me doing, I have a motto that says, let no obstacle be greater than the cause. And every day there are many obstacles that we're trying to face, even when it comes to the same climate crisis, but from the organizational perspective. But again, my motto is that despite the many obstacles that I may go through or the organization may go through, we always need to remember what that cause is. And for us under the foundation, that cause is ensuring that our young persons are meaningfully engaged in social development issues as it relates to health, the environment, and the climate crisis. So I remember when I was a student at the law school, I was always passionate about community work. And that's where the Schools Against Non-Communicable Diseases started. And I remember even organizing a 5K walk with students, and we were able to donate the funds back to the Heart and Stroke Foundation, the Diabetes Association of Barbados, and other organizations in Barbados. So honestly, I just have a passion for community work. I guess it started through my involvement in different extracurricular activities at school, and I also love engaging with varying young persons within the space. I mean, to date, where I am now, they make me feel like I'm so old, but I love speaking to them. I love speaking to them and learning from them as well, because at the end of the day, like, they have so much talent. They have so much talent in which we really need to embrace. And I think that through the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, that was extremely well, community empowerment. For them to bring back this National Youth Awards, it really highlighted the need for stakeholders to embrace young persons who are working extremely hard within the various spaces. Young Barbadians have immense talent and potential and are tapping into various industries. And I think for them to highlight the innovation and talent behind many different young persons that night, they also need to be commended for bringing back these awards after so many years.
And you are one of those young people who they recognized on that night, having brought back those awards after so many years. Ashley Lashley, congratulations to you on recipient of this Silk Cotton Award. I think, yep, the Silk Cotton Award for outstanding contribution to the landscape of this island. And you have the energy and the passion because your light will not be dimmed. You are forever going forward. No obstacle will stand in your way. Continue doing what you're doing so passionately. Continue doing it well. And we wish you the very best in all your future endeavors. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Pearson. Have a great day.
You do too. Thank you so much indeed. Ashley Lashley, recipient of the Silk Cotton Award at the recently concluded National Youth Awards. A break, and we're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Maxback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, we're hoping this morning to hear from the young man who is following in his father's footsteps and who has just received his first record deal, but maybe soon we'll get to have him here to share with you on Morning Barbados. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. My producer has been Alicia Grant. Technical director Samuel Mason. Roel Ford has also been here. Sound Christopher Blenman. And at Master Control Tamisha Green. I'm Pearson Boyne. From each of them to all of you, we say thank you and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.